there are a lot of people who are upset about what's going on in this country, as I'm sure you
Mhm.
are aware, but you yourself are doing something constructive with those emotions. So, how would you approach someone who is disaffected with democracy right now?
So I did a little speech, and it was really hard to write. And
Hmm.
it was for women. It was a women's organization. It was for like Women's March, and I was trying to do a partisan compare and contrast for veterans and women, and I had to go like hyper specific as an example, and I had to talk about like my personal experience
Hmm.
with, in front of like 700 people, sexual violence in the military. And then I had to discuss what the rates of sexual violence and domestic abuse were in the military last time Trump was in office, and the fact that he had been adjudicated
Hmm.
in civil that he was, to hit the New York term, technically a rapist.
Yeah, the judge clarified that he was convicted of rape.
Yes. Joe Biden was the first person since like 1950 to change the Uniform Code of Military Conduct to include domestic abuse, stalking, and a whole bunch of different types of sexual violence, and like change the law. And then also make it so that your first level military commander couldn't decide, even though you accuse someone of rape, that you're the problem, that you're crazy, chapter her out because she's a psycho garbage, and keep him because he's a war fighter that's necessary for the mission. And then when I described that, you just watched the people's faith
Yeah.
fall. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I mean, that's really
when,
powerful for me. Just hearing you talk about that. I'm first of all, I'm very sorry you experienced that, regardless if it was in the military or in the general population. That's
yeah,
terrible. I mean, it's terrible. It sounds like the message is people are going to get hurt if you don't do something.
yeah,
For people who are disaffected and don't want to participate in democracy, just know that when people get in power, and you don't try and stop those people, there are going to be others who are hurt by that. Well, thank you for sharing that painful story. And I really do hope that when people listen to you talk about that, that it changes hearts and minds and that it gets them to re-engage with democracy because it's important. We all have a responsibility to do that.